Yeah, so we're back for our second visit to continue with the Magna Carta project. To finalise the conservation assessment, particularly in relation to the fact that there's a small crack in the bottom of the seal and we need to make sure that's stable. And so looking at the stability of the cords and the seal and hopefully a better sense of what's going on with the back of the parchment as well.
The condition of the seal cords was surprisingly good in that they still were flexible and they still had a little bit of lustre to the surface, which I'd expect of silk. It loses its shine because it degrades as it ages, but on the whole it was actually surprisingly good. To have them at all is actually exceptional because a lot of the Magna Carta parchments have lost their cord and their seal altogether, so the fact that they're there is amazing. So rather than doing any sort of interventive treatment on the silk cording, I'm wanting to look at the identification of it, find out how it's plaited, what sort of twist angle it is, because that helps us find the geography, link it to where it might be from, who might have made it, which areas of Europe it could have been manufactured in. Yeah, I've got permission to take a couple of samples, which is good, and we're going to just take absolute minimum because we take them off the object, which is quite a drastic step, and we have permission to do that, so we'll just take a tiny sample of each colour. I'm taking one of the red, one of the green, and we'll run that through a whole lot of different methods of analysis.
I guess with wax as a substance, it can be very diverse. In the early days, they were basically using pure beeswax with some additives and also pigments to get different colour. By the time this one was created, they were using beeswax with a mixture of a resin called rosin, which is the sap from pine trees. Prior to stabilisation, I would say that the seal was in fair to good condition. There was some structural damage around the bottom of the seal where the silk cord exits. You can see that most of the edges have been lost in the past. The figure, there are quite a few sections that are no longer present, so the red wax around the actual original seal gives you an idea of how much the seal has been lost. So the cracks in the seal and also the loose fragments were stabilised using an adhesive called Lascaux 498 HV. It's a water-based emulsion, which was really important as any solvent-based adhesive could potentially affect the wax, and that it should remain quite stable. It's also important to assess that area so that the next step can be undertaken, which will be turning the whole Magna Carta parchment over so we can look at the back as well.